you're over 50, I want to help you regain some of that muscle and strength that you've lost over the last couple of decades, okay? And I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can do that. People don't realize that we lose about 10% of our muscle mass every single decade. And it's not until we absolutely need it that we realize we're not as strong as we used to be. As you can see from the pictures on the screen, my client boosted his leg strength by 200% in terms of the weight he was using in a goblet squat exercise, and he reduced his upper body strength by 46% with a seated cable row. And the thing of it is, our leg strength declines twice as fast as our upper body strength. So that's actually really significant. You may be wondering, how can you turn back the clock, and what are those 3 key components that you need to regain strength and muscle? Well, here we go. Number 1, you need to be doing strength training. You need to be using weights under load to be able to get stronger, because our muscles rely on stimulus. They rely on tension. And if you're not using the muscles, they just become as strong as what they need to be. So if you sit down all day long, they just adapt to being able to do what you do just sitting down all day long. So first things first, you need to be doing strength training at least 3 times a week for about 30 minutes. And if you've got no idea where to start, okay, I've got a full body strength workout that you can have for free and get started. I've had literally 1,500 downloads of this free guide, and the feedback is amazing. So there's a link down below so you can jump in and grab that free guide. But the thing about strength training is that we need to be challenging our muscles. We need to be proactive with it, because our muscles will adapt to what we do every day. So if you don't lift things every single day, they just adapt to this, moving my arms around. But if you go into a gym or work out at home and you're pushing against resistance and the last few reps of that are hard, then your muscles will adapt to be able to lift the load next time. And when you do that, it stimulates new muscle growth. It's called muscle protein synthesis, okay? And when that happens, you know, it becomes an active tissue. It means you have more energy, you burn more calories at rest. It's absolutely amazing for our body. It's like paying into a piggyback over time. It, you know, pays you back in dividends. And the thing of it is, when you're losing 10% of your muscle mass every single decade, then you're basically reducing your capability to do lifestyle things. You may not be able to go for that long walk anymore. You may need help picking groceries up or whatever that is for you, okay? And you don't really notice it until you really notice it. So strength training is super important. And you may be wondering, like, where do you start? Well, if you haven't got the guide yet, that's cool. But I want to start with at least 3 things that you can do. I want you to pick some kind of leg exercise. And a leg exercise could simply be sitting from a chair and standing up, okay? If you did that 20 times, okay, sit up, sit down, okay, 20 times, and you repeated it 3 times in a day, that would be about 60 squats, okay? And that would be a massive step forward in building your leg strength. The other exercise that you could do maybe is incline push-up, okay? You could find a bench top or worktop or do it on the floor, and you're just gonna press on the floor that way, and it's gonna work your chest muscles and your triceps. And the other exercise you could do could be maybe dumbbell pullover, where you pull a dumbbell over the top of your head. It's gonna work on your lats a little bit. They're the 3 main, and I say main loosely, muscle groups of a body. You're hitting your legs, you're hitting your back, which are responsible for pulling exercises, and you're hitting your chest, responsible for pushing. And if you do that, you're gonna hit a lot of the muscles in the body, all right? But like, if you want a full structured planning, you know, jump down into the link and grab that strength program. Then you may be thinking, well, how heavy do you actually have to lift? Well, the reality of it is, you know, you're not a bodybuilder, I'm not a bodybuilder, okay? I'm literally here to be strong for my life, for my family, to do things that I love to do. And as long as the last couple of reps are hard, and what that means is, let's just say you're doing squats, right? And I get to 15 reps of squats, and like 16 is really hard, and then 17 is hard, and maybe I can't do 18. That is the kind of intensity you need to be at. But when you're starting off, okay, you know, maybe you don't need that level. You could say, I'm gonna do 15 reps, but if I really, really had to push it, I could do 18 to 20. That's where you start first. You leave a little bit of strength in the tank, so you don't get too sore, don't get injured, okay? And as you get more conditioned to weight training and exercising, you can push into that failure range as well. But that's gonna be plenty for you to regain the lost muscle. Because the thing of it is, what's really amazing is that you're not actually putting on slabs of new muscle. You're replacing that 20, 30% of muscle that you've already lost. And what that is, your muscles are amazing. They have something called muscle memory. And it just means that muscles like to, you know, bounce back to where they used to be. So you may be able to regain nearly all of that muscle mass back depending on your age. You can definitely improve your strength as well, like my clients. And like I do this every single day as well at the gym, right? So you can actually do amazing things with a little bit of effort, with a very, very low time commitment per week. I'm talking half an hour, 3 times a week. Everyone's got that time. And if you really want to regain lost muscle, that would be the number one thing that you start to do. And you wouldn't even have to do the next 2 steps, okay? Step number 2 though, you will need to start increasing your protein. Now, when we first start weight training, we probably don't need to do everything at once. You probably don't need as much protein as people sort of recommend. And I see that time and time again. Like, bearing in mind, in our fitness facility here, we have people come to us in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they very rarely modify their diets, but they still get strong because the muscle memory and the weight is the number one factor to build muscle. You need to be stimulus, because even if you just ate more protein on its own, it's not going to build muscle. You need some kind of stimulus for that to happen. So what I'm saying is, you do need a bit of extra protein, but you don't need to worry about that right now. But if you do want to increase your protein intake, how do you do that? Well, the first thing, and one of the best sort of guides that I've ever heard actually, and it works out really with most of the calculators that you get, is for every centimeter of height, that's how many grams of protein you have. So I'm sorry if we're in the US and you're using Imperial or Britain or wherever, okay, just whip out a tape measure, measure your height in centimeters, and try and eat that many grams of protein. And if you don't know how many grams are in protein at all, then you just simply Google it, guys. You just literally type it in, or use an app like MyFitnessPal, which I think is fantastic, and it'll work this out for you. But think of it this way. If you realize right now that you only eat, say, 50 grams of protein per day, if you added one more protein item to your day, which increased your protein intake by 15, maybe 20 grams of protein, then that's going to be amazing for you to start, building more muscle and hitting your protein targets, because you're already doing well on the protein that you've got. So a little bit extra is going to improve you a little bit. So don't think you have to go from 50 to 180 grams of protein overnight. You can do this in different stages, okay? So you don't have to worry about jumping in and going crazy in your first sort of couple of weeks. And if you do it slowly, you got more longevity. It doesn't become too hard, doesn't become a chore, and it's a much sort of nicer journey, if you like, something to work towards as you go forward. And the third thing is that people that skip cardio, okay? And I'm talking cardio in zone 2. Now, if you have no idea what that is, all you have to do is comment walking down below, and I will send you a zone 2 cardio guide that you can follow, okay? It's amazing for fat loss, but zone 2 cardio is like the magic zone. I'm gonna go to my notes, because some of this stuff's a little bit scientific-y, and I kind of want to just not forget it, okay? So the first thing, improves your recovery between strength workouts. Now, personally for me, I didn't do a huge amount of cardio when I first started my fitness journey, but as I started doing more of it, and I'm training for things like triathlon and Ironman right now, I'm finding I'm recovering way faster. Being that you got mitochondria in your cells, they're like the little powerhouses in your cells that run all the energy levels and stuff like that, and it makes your mitochondria more dense. When it's more dense, it has more energy, okay? So that's a really nice way to put it. And then it also increases blood flow as well. So if you're doing cardio and getting your heart rate up, your blood's pumping faster, it increases more sort of blood flow to the muscles and everything else, and it clears a lot of that waste, the lactate, the toxins, and that sort of gets rid of it all from your body, okay? Which means you can recover way faster. So cardio is a fantastic tool for you. The second thing it does, cardio actually supports your heart health, okay? And we need to be doing about 150 minutes of cardio per week, and it helps with nutrient delivery as well. So when you're doing cardio and you say you eat that little bit of extra protein, it's going to push more of that nutrients into the muscles, have a faster build more muscle, okay? That's the kind of the gist of it. And zone 2 cardio, like I mentioned in the first place, it is a low level cardio at about maybe 60% of your max heart rate. And because it's so gentle in nature, it tends to, you burn more fat off as well when you're doing it, provided you're in a calorie deficit. But what it does is it allows you to do it more often. You can recover way better. So let's just say, you're looking to re-body composition your body and you do cardio every single day, then it's gonna have a benefit to muscle building, not a negative to muscle building. Whereas high intensity cardio actually breaks the body down and can be called something called catabolic, which means breaks muscle down. And zone 2 cardio doesn't do that, okay? It's way more muscle saving. You can think of it more as a recovery enhancer, not a muscle waster, okay? So there are the 3 things that you can start doing straight away to regain the lost muscle. Remember, you're not trying to build tons of muscle like Arnold Schwarzenegger or some of those massive bodybuilders. It's not going to happen. think of it as replacing 20-30% of muscle mass you've already lost because you weren't supporting your muscle as you got older, okay? Now, there are those two guides down below. You've got the strength one and the walking one. Go and have a look at those. Like I said, the strength one's been downloaded like 1,500 times already, and it's going up every single day. And the emails I'm getting through are fantastic. So make sure you check that out. It is super cool, right? And I'm gonna leave a video up in the top left corner, which is actually gonna talk to you about some exercises you can do with some demonstrations. So head over to that video, and I'll see you on the next one.